Hello, my name is Craig Ellingson. I am currently the Director of Theater at Minnesota State University-Moorhead. I was in Mankato at Minnesota State University-Mankato, I think it was 95 through 97 or 93 through 95. I can't remember the exact years, isn't that horrible? I went in the summer before my grad school started in the fall. I did 3 summers of Highland. And then at the time when I was there, it was a 2-year MFA program. During that time, I directed as well as performed, which I was very thankful for, which was actually one reason why I decided to go to Mankato versus some other programs. I directed my 3 main projects. I did Hooters, which is a play about Hooters, and it's about 2 men wooing and meeting 2 young women and everything that happens within that set of circumstances. My second project was an original script which I wrote for the children's touring program, which was called Snow Queen, The Snow Queen. And then my final project was the musical Falsettos. As an actor, I got to perform in Music Man, A Chorus Line, Cotton Patch Gospel, and I'm sure there was a few others. Oh yeah, especially during the summer. Yeah. And then I also was asked to direct and choreograph my first summer as a student for Highland. So I did Annie, either Annie or Annie Warbucks.
It wasn't Annie Get Your Gun, was it?
I did Annie Get Your Gun.
Okay.
And I also did Grease while I was there. That was the last show that I did prior to coming here to, where am I at? Moorhead. It's all these M's, MSUMs, M's, M's, M's. Tell you about my time in Mankato. I was very grateful to be in Mankato when I was there. The work ethic really applied to the way that I like to work. It was very interesting. I just spent my sabbatical. I did a year-long study in Northern California at Del Arte International School of Physical Theater, and I was surrounded by much younger people, people in their 20s, and they called me the workhorse. They're like, you just want to keep working this over and over again, and I'm like, yeah, I like to work. I want to make sure that the work that I produce and present is of a certain quality, and that certainly was echoed in the program while I was in Mankato. Paul Hustles was a great mentor. At the time, it was Lewis Whitlock III, Ronald Lawson, and Paul Hustles were the main performance people. And I learned a lot from each one of them, and I think that that's a great thing about any program, is that no one professor is always like the other professor. And it was great to learn different things from different professors at different times. I was also lucky enough to be able to bridge into the world of dance and work with Julie Kerberry, as well as in the music department. I took voice lessons. I'm remiss to remember the person's name that I worked with while I was there. So it was a flexible enough program that allowed me to grow in the way that I needed to grow, and it pushed me in areas that I had not been pushed in before. Let's see, I had a great time during Highland. Highland, I think, is a great experience for any student, and I say that to our students as well, is that summer stock is really how you test your craft, and if you have enough craft, or rather if you have enough technique to work on your craft, then hopefully the craft moments can become art. And with that, I think that being able to do those shows in such a short amount of time has really helped me as both a actor and a director and a choreographer. I tend to get things up quickly, and I tend to push people to learn as quickly as possible, because in that way, once they learn it, then they can own it. Because once you put it into your mind, you got to put it onto your body. So if you spend too much time in your mind, then it never gets into your body. And I'm a very strong advocate for trying to get people to think and respond with their bodies rather than just psychoanalysis and things getting stuck in their head. Mankato as a city was a great place. During that time, I had a young son, and it was a great place to raise a young child. And you know, I think one of the great things about Mankato in and of itself, other than the city and the program, is its proximity to the cities, and that you are kind of in this nice little respite a great little smaller community where you can focus and do your work, but you're still close enough to a larger community or a larger city where you can go and continue to learn more about the things that you do by going to things like the Guthrie and other regional theaters in the area. I was actually very blessed. It was the last show of the season, which would have been 95 or 97, whichever it was, and we were doing Phantom in Mankato. I was not physically involved with the program, but a director of theater from Minnesota State University-Moorhead, or at that time it would have been Moorhead State University, came as the KCACTF respondent. I got a phone call from Dr. Hustles that night saying, Jim Bartriff is here, and they need a director choreographer. And you are meeting with him after the show. Dress casually, because he is dressed casually. Bring your resume. So I went and met with him after the response, and lo and behold, 2 days later, I had my first job. And that job is the job that I'm still currently in. I came in as a junior faculty member, and I just finished my 15th or 16th year here. I have run up the ranks, if you will. I am now the director of theater and the chair of the theater arts department. During my time here, and during some of the time that I've been what I might call a pseudo-administrator, we've gone through some major changes and shifts. We used to be a speech communication and theater arts program, and then we became a speech communication, film studies, and theater arts program. And then eventually we made the case for the larger administration to become a theater arts department. We've gone up and down as far as our faculty members are concerned. We've gone through several curriculum changes. We've added a musical theater emphasis. We've been pushing and changing in the direction of our dance and musical theater dance areas. And then, we are always dealing with programming. What should we do for the academic year versus what we do for the summer? So much like Highland Summer Theatre, which is in Mankato, we have what's known as the Straw Hat Players, which is our summer stock company. It is a little different than Highland, unless my memory serves, that in Highland, a small group of people were paid for principal roles, and then there were people that would come in and do work for a chorus ensemble. Here we hire an entire company of actors and technicians, and they are with us 8 to 12 hours a day. They are all paid positions, and this year we produced 6 productions, and this is our 50th anniversary. So with this particular season, we did 4 musicals and 2 straight plays, and we bounced back and forth between 2 theaters. Much of that training and understanding of how to put together all those pieces of the puzzle, I think I learned while I was in Mankato. That ability to be active. And if that's one thing I would stress, and I stress to students here, is you must work your program. Sure, you can just sit down and figure out, these are the classes that I need to take. But if that's all you want to do, then you really shouldn't be involved in a theater program, because the experience that you can get by becoming more active and seeking out additional opportunities is what makes your program unique for you. And we have a great example. Tyler Michaels, a great student. He won the regional festival in the Irene Ryan acting competition and is now an active performer in the Twin Cities. He saw production once with our performing arts series, which is we bring in bus and truck and professionals 3 to 5 times a year, I believe, for the general university and community at large. And he saw a production that involved a kind of physical clown. After he saw that totally changed his trajectory for the next 3 years. And because of the size of our program, we were allowed to be a little bit more flexible with him. And so he understood what he needed. So he worked the program in such a way that he came out knowing more about himself and a stronger idea of where he fit into the world of theater. And so that advice about really trying to find your niche and establishing what it is that you do. The other thing that I think is really important is, regardless of whether you believe you are a technician and or a performer, that you need to be able to understand and speak and do as much as you can in each of those worlds. Especially when you're in the world of summer stock, you never know you might be asked to hang a light, to sew a seam, to help paint a flat. And those skills and talents that are needed in all areas, again, even if you have the basic cursory knowledge in everything, and then focus primarily on what it is that you really have your passion about, I think that's going to market you and make you a person that is, one, more knowledgeable, and two, someone that you might be more likely to hire because they can talk about different things in different ways. Since I've been here, the idea of what theater is and why we need to have theater, I think, has really changed in my mind. I remember going into grad school and thinking that most times, often than not, especially musical theater and maybe theater in general, was just a form of entertainment. And something that has really changed in me over the last decade is really to see how important storytelling is. And storytelling, be it a drama that moves people to tears or to change, the social change, or is it just an escape where you can come and forget the hot, humid summer for 2.5 hours in a cool theater and be transported into the world of Lend Me a Tenor, which is the set that we're sitting on right now, or is it the Laramie Project, which we will be presenting in the fall right away, reminding people of what has happened in our lives and what can we do in order to make the world a better place, not only for ourselves but for future generations.